Good evening from New York. I'm Chris Hayes. The Senate Judiciary Committee just wrapped its third day of public Supreme Court confirmation hearings for Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson. After 10 hours of on-camera testimony, the proceedings now move behind closed doors. Throughout the day, Democrats and some Republicans asked substantive questions on key decisions that likely will come before the court, questions of methodology and approach, while other Republican senators chose to once again air their conspiracy theories and grievances about past confirmation hearings.
The meetings they had with Judge Kavanaugh, it was literally ambushed. He was ambushed. How would you feel if we did that to you?
Senator, I've appreciated the kindness that each of you has shown me.
What do you say to some of them who may doubt that they can one day achieve the same great heights that you have?
I hope to inspire people to try to follow this path because I love this country, because I love the law.
Why isn't it rational to sentence people who have thousands of images on a computer to more time as opposed to somebody who has one or two pictures in the mail? In other words, the more images there are, why wouldn't you want to sentence that person to more time rather than less? Why isn't that rational?
Senator, I've answered this question, and I'll stand on what I already answered.
Your nomination turned out to be a testing ground for conspiracy theories and culture war theories. The more bizarre the charges against you and your family, the more I understand the social media scoreboard lit up yesterday. I'm sorry that we have to go through this. These are not theories that are in the mainstream of America, but they have been presented here as such.
But after enduring 2 days of attacks from Republicans, Senator Cory Booker drove it all home with this supportive message.
It's not going to stop. They're going to accuse you of this and that. Heck, in honor of your person who shares your birthday, you might be called a communist. But don't worry, my sister. Don't worry. God has got you. And how do I know that? Because you're here. And I know what it's taken for you to sit in that seat.
Okay, here's the thing. Supreme Court confirmations are just, they're knockout, drag-out battles. That is the nature of the job. You are vying to be one of just 9 justices with a lifetime appointment, people who essentially have unlimited veto power over the American political system. No one should expect anything less than a contentious process. It's a very, very difficult and serious job. We live in a democracy. This is how it goes. But even by those standards, the hearings for Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson, the first black woman ever nominated to the Supreme Court in over 200 years of this country's history, has been stomach-churning. We knew going in that her race and gender would be an issue for some Republicans. But I have to say, I have been taken aback by the facially racist nature of much of the questioning Judge Jackson faced. And I say racist because there's no other way to accurately describe it, whether people want to call it racially tinged or whatever. Yesterday, Jackson repeatedly faced a line of questioning that assumed she was soft on crime or sympathetic to criminals or maybe even liked crime. And the only reason I can determine is that it plays into the assumption that a black person is inherently associated with criminality in some way, which is, of course, racist, one of the oldest, most pernicious and dangerous racist tropes in America. She was also asked multiple times to disown or disavow the views of other black public intellectuals, just other people that also happen to be black who have ideas about the country, specifically the 1619 Project and critical race theory.
You serve on the board of a school that teaches kindergartners, 5-year-old children, that they can choose their gender and teaches them about so-called white privilege. You have made clear that you believe judges must consider critical race theory when deciding how to sentence criminal defendants. Is it your personal hidden agenda to incorporate critical race theory into our legal system?
One portion of the book says babies are taught to be racist or anti-racist. There is no neutrality. Another portion of the book, they recommend to babies confess when being racist. Do you agree with this book that is being taught with kids that babies are racist?
Does the United States need more or fewer police? Do you know how long the average inmate convicted for a murder serves in prison in America? Let's turn to rape. Do you know how long the average inmate convicted of rape serves in prison? In 2020, murders increased by the fastest rate ever in the United States. Do you know what percentage of murders are solved in America? Do you know what percentage of sexual assaults and rapes go unsolved in this country? Do you think we imprison too many violent criminals or not enough?
Now, Republicans will tell you in their very best gaslighting voice that what you just heard from, say, Republican Senator Tom Cotton of Arkansas are just questions about criminal justice asked of a former public defender, trial judge, member of the Sentencing Commission. And to that, I would just say it is a tremendous coincidence that the last time a Democrat nominated a black judge to the Supreme Court, they faced the same line of questioning. It was a long time ago, back in the summer of 1967, when President Lyndon Johnson nominated the legendary civil rights litigator Thurgood Marshall to be the first black justice on the Supreme Court. Two Southern Democrats, Judiciary Committee Chair James Eastland of Mississippi, a legendary and notorious figure, and John McClellan of Arkansas teamed up to derail Marshall's nomination with exactly the same kind of racist questioning that presupposes that a black judge is soft on crime. The idea was that Senator McClellan, a former prosecutor, would be able to trip up Judge Marshall with his line of questioning. McClellan first asked Marshall, quote, "I would ask you if you do not agree with me that the mounting incidence of crime in this nation has reached a critical stage." Doesn't that sound familiar? To which Marshall replied, "I agree with you absolutely." And not satisfied, McClellan kept going, quote, "Do you regard crime as having reached proportions where it endangers or jeopardizes the internal security of our country?" Marshall responded in part, quote, "I am as worried as anybody about the mounting rate of crime, but I do not think it has yet reached the point where it cannot be dealt with and dealt with affirmatively." McClellan, undeterred, went on to ask, quote, "Is my understanding correct that as of now you do not think that the crime rate in this country has reached proportions where it endangers and jeopardizes our internal security?" And after some back and forth, Marshall responded, quote, "I have got faith in my government. I know my government will not let it happen." To which McClellan, a Southern segregationist staring down the first black nominee for the Supreme Court, responded, quote, "Well, I've seen a lot of things happen that I did not think would ever happen too." Whoo, boy. Wonder what he was talking about. Ultimately, the plan by those two vile Southern racists failed. Justice Thurgood Marshall was confirmed and spent more than 2 decades on the court. Just as it seems, Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson will ultimately be confirmed. And as the first black woman on the court, it is with her name which will endure. Tom Cotton and Ted Cruz, Josh Hawley, they too have put themselves on the record for history, but only as embarrassing footnotes in the historic ascendance of a truly, what appears to be, by every possible metric, gifted American Supreme Court justice. I think, or honestly, at least I hope, that future generations will be able to look back on their behavior during Jackson's confirmation just as we were able to look back on the racist barrel scraping the senators of the 1960s.
Wow, a lot to unpack. What's up, Brandon?
Now, you want me to go get my gasoline can now and matches? Or
yeah, you might as well go ahead and do it now. Let's go ahead and get it out the way.
Hello, good afternoon, good evening, everyone, and welcome to a new edition of Real World News TV. And I think you saw the opening clip, so you know where we're going. How you doing this evening, Tom?
I'm doing okay. You know, when I loaded that clip for the show for tonight, this is the second time I've watched it. Mm-hmm. And usually when you see something for the second time, it doesn't pack the punch that it usually would have the first go around. Mm-hmm. But this one seems to kind of sit with you. And it's not that boring feeling like I've got to sit through it again, although it was very long. You know, it's one of the longest clips I think I've ever put up when producing a show. But it was so much that was relevant to what we're going to talk about tonight. And thanks for having me on sitting in for chair tonight. But I knew that if I cut it down and if I chopped it up, I think the relevancy of it, some of it would be missed. As we talk about tonight's topic, you know, the treatment of blacks and second-class citizenship and all of these things. But I don't, you know, as time goes on and I get older and continue to watch politics and the news, I continue to be hardened a lot more, you know, a lot more. But I'm good.
Well, and, you know, the whole thing irritated me. You know, it's, you know, the clips, the, you know, showing the ignorance and the racist attitudes of the Republican, you know, the Republican Party, and those individuals in the Republican Party, how they try to use race as a permanent factor of selecting someone. The question and the line of question was not questions that needed to be answered. Someone asked of someone who's going to trying to go to the Supreme Court, trying to get confirmed to the Supreme Court. Those questions had nothing to do with what her job is going to be. I mean, like Ted Cruz, if he doesn't like the curriculum at the school, then he needs to take his kids out of the school. And why does he continue to allow his kids to go there if he doesn't like what they're teaching? Okay,
Right.
The senator from Tennessee, you know, talking about critical race theory. Okay, I mean, dumb A questions. Okay, in my opinion. Okay, but then they go put a candidate up in Georgia, and I'll be straight up with you, Herschel Walker, who is not as smart as the next kid on the block, and he gets up there and says he's tired of talking about CTR. Okay, that's what they're running with. That's the platform they're running on. And then to ask her, Cotton from Arkansas, to ask her about the percentages of different types of crime. Yeah, she ain't no walking statistical library. She doesn't need to know those statistics. You know, so it just goes on to show how they are trying to manipulate the whole process. But again, they play into their base. Okay, they playing for the future. They're trying to play to get the White House back. So they're going to ask dumb questions like that.
But at some point, Reggie, I would have to think that somewhere in that line to getting the White House back, getting all of the offices back, at some point, we have to think about, are they really playing to their base? Or are they just racist, prejudiced assholes?
They both. They all of it.
You know, because sometimes we're going to have to step away from giving it the excuse that these are folks that are playing to their base. They don't care, but at some point, they really don't care about their base. They really don't.
They do, because they need those votes. Look at what the orange head did, okay? The orange head ran a race based on racism, okay? Now, you look at out of the 70 million votes that he got as running for president, probably 80% of those people are either racist or harbor racist attitudes, okay?
Right.
So he played to their base. So what's happened, and happened in his first time he ran for office, you know, that's what they feed off of now. Because they have individuals like these ignorant Republican senators who sit in office and they say what they're scared to say. Do you think your next door neighbor will come out to you and say what these guys are saying on TV? No, because that neighbor doesn't know if you're going to knock the crap out of them, okay? Or what your reaction going to be. But when they can sit back on TV, sit back and look at TV, and they look at the Cruzes or the Cardinals and the other guys spew out the hatred that they do, they love it. Look, let me tell you something, Tony. It's almost like you're looking at media lynching, okay?
Yeah. Yeah,
You're just
I
not
can go
killing the
with
person.
that analogy. I can go
Okay,
with that.
you're not killing the person. Okay.
But you might as well be.
Yeah, you might as well just take them out in front of the Capitol and hang them.
Well, that's what they were going to do to Pence, but I just found it disturbing. You know, this woman is highly qualified. She is highly intelligent. And as we sit and watch her speak, just on that particular clip, you know, we weren't looking at the entire confirmation hearings. We were just looking at that short clip from MSNBC. And throughout that clip, they denigrated her. They basically called her soft on crime. They called her, in so many words, a danger to this country. By confirming her, she becomes a danger to the country and has no track record of this. There's nothing that they could find on this woman that would give you other. But simply by the state of her being a Black and a woman made her target for a racial line of questioning, which we didn't hear that with, what's good old boy's name, the beer drinker. We didn't hear that with him. Yeah, we didn't hear that with the woman that they just confirmed. I have a problem because here it is that this woman has worked hard to gain the status that she's in. And she's damn good at what she does based on her track record. You don't hear of anything that has gone on with her in the news that are scandals. Nothing that they could find. But you're going to sit there and treat her like she is not a member of society in this country, like she has not paid her dues. She's paid her dues more than some of the white folks that are sitting right there on the bench. She's paid her dues more than some of those folks that sit in Congress, because half of them buy their way in with lobbyists. So that's the part that pisses me off. That's the part that gets me, is that she could sit on the highest court in the land and still be treated like scum.
And, you know, she's not going to get, if she gets 2 Republican votes, which will probably be Romney and Susan Cook, that's probably all she's going to get, okay? Simply because they're not going to vote for her, you know, because they think she's soft on crime. You know, like I told a Republican today, I said, you know, you look at her record is much better, way better than Kavanaugh's and Amy Barrett's, you know, because she has practice in the court. These people didn't practice in the court. You know, they did no court cases. You know, so she has the more experience, and she's much more stronger than the previous 2. But they don't want to hear that. You know, the same Republican I was talking to today, he said that, well, she doesn't like America. So then this is why I told her. I said, you need to go back and watch the confirmation hearings and listen to what she says and read the transcript. I said, because you got it all twisted and wrong. He didn't say nothing else after that. After I told him he needed to go back and look at it, because that's how they do. They spew out the wrong answers and try to spin the scenario. And
Well, it's not even wrong answers or spin, Reggie. It's just blatant lies.
Yeah, she never said she did not hate. She said she loves America. She loves her country. But not for them to hear. They didn't hear that. You know, they didn't hear it. You know,
so to me, it's almost as if, you know, hell, we had a Black president a few years ago that held office for 2 terms. And at every turn, the Republican Party, the right, would try to do things or say things that were going to be of his demise. I can remember, and what plays very, very strongly for me, and what I remember is when Obama was first elected into office, and I had was going around the corner up to the Walmart, and it was a post office that was on my way. They had picket signs out there with Obama's face, with the Hitler mustache, with the megaphones. And I mean, these folks were acting a fool. And as I was approaching them, because there were cars in front of me, we were stopped at this light. There were folks up at the corner throwing rocks into people's windshields that were Black. They weren't throwing the rocks at the white folks. They were throwing them at the Black folks. And I'm telling you, Reggie, I kept saying, oh, please hit my window. Please hit my window. Because it was going to be my chance to go out there and whip somebody's tail. You know, and not so much as it that they would break a window, is because I witnessed something down the street coming up the hill that was totally against everything that what Barack Obama stood for, and who he was as a politician, who he was as a community organizer, who he was as a man. That's why I was hoping somebody was going to crack my window with a rock, because I was going to give them some, you know. But that's where all of this stuff takes you, because we have sat in our seats for so long and have been treated unfairly by way of the economic system and the breakdown. We've been treated unfairly in the court system, the judicial system. We've been treated badly at every turn in our lives. And when is it going to be that you are going to recognize that, yes, we are Black folks, but we are human beings. We bleed, we hurt, we cry, we go through pain just like you do. When are you going to learn that we are not second-class citizens? We built this country. That's the part that pains me. And I'm sorry for my ramble.
Well, I don't think it's never going to happen, because one thing is that we are our own worst enemy, okay? The Black community, okay? We're our own worst enemy. We don't stand up for our rights and what needs to take place in the community, because we feel like because we can live in fine houses, have great jobs and things like that, we've come. So what has happened, we've taken our eye off of the situation, off the prize, and we just gotten too comfortable in our own skin, in our own communities, okay? And they see that, so they're just going running roughshod over us at this time. You look at the poorest white person in this country, the poorest trailer trash in this country, and you will see that they don't lay down. They take pride in calling us all kinds of names, okay? And going after us all the time, because the worst thing they can see is a Black person doing better than them, okay? But we just sit back and we cool out and we just chill out, okay?
So what would you suppose we do?
Honestly, at my age, Tony, I done gave up. I'm gonna tell you why I've given up.
Really?
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you why. Because I've been out here fighting for a long time. I continue to fight, okay? And I continue to hope and pray that young people will step into the fight, but they don't. They're not interested. They're not interested. I was on a prayer call last Thursday morning with Reverend Barbara, okay? And the prayer was centered around, had two women pray for the judge that day. And he said that he had talked to one of his other friends Wednesday night out in California. And he said his son, young son, young adult son walked past the TV while he was looking at the news, and at that time the confirmation came up. And he said, why? He said, nothing's never going to change.
It's the mindset.
Yeah, because they've seen so much. They've seen everything that the orange head did, and the people, and some people in the white community have done. Then they see white senators, going at the smartest, most prepared, not even black person, most prepared judge to come across to be confirmed for the Supreme Court. They see them going at her, and they say, why? Why should we keep on fighting? Nothing's going to change.
That's
because
sad.
you constantly fight. Look at who's out there on the front line fighting for people's rights. It's the old folks, okay?
Yeah.
It's the older people. It's the 50 on up group that's out there fighting to try to make sure that the young adults, young people have rights, and they can continue on living in this country. But it's then you look at they bringing in 100 refugees from Ukraine. Me personally, they can stay over in Europe, if I'm concerned, because the simple fact on the tag of the article was that most of these people harbor white supremacist ideas when it comes to blacks. And
well,
we
you
saw
see how
that.
we were treated over there.
Yeah, and we saw that when the war first broke out. They were pushing blacks away from the train. Africans and Indians pushing people of color away from the train. So y'all got to wait y'all turn.
Right. Well, when is our turn?
Yeah, in a situation like that, then you had them get into the Poland line, and the Polish soldiers said, if you try to come into this country, enter, we're going to shoot you. So we face racism around the world, okay? We face being second-class citizens around the world. We even face it in the motherland. If you look at some of the countries where you have the haves and have-nots,
Yeah.
the haves look down on the have-nots.
Yeah. I just think it's really sad that, going back and referencing about the young people, because without them, without their voices, without especially their technical know-how, where we are right now in the throes of technology, they are the ones who lead or should be leading the charge, because these young people now are having babies.
Yeah.
And I mean, how could you not care about the future of your children? It's not just about them, it's about their children and their children's children.
Yeah. The mindset of the young people have changed. They rather be shoplifting and grabbing as many clothes as they can in a designer store than out on the street, canvassing for a political organization to make sure people understand the issues and get out and vote. It pains me every time I look at a picture of a crime, I see our young black kids are the participants of this crime.
And this is going to sound really, well, my son. Mm-hmm. And he has his, political views, his theology, views. Mm-hmm. And he has every right to feel that way. But what I do agree with him on, and I know that, I don't know if he would be watching this show, what I do agree with him on is not always, some of the things that he's talking about and how he delivers it. But I do agree on us arming ourselves, being ready for some sort of, takedown. Mm-hmm. I agree with that. I agree with the fact that he has armed himself for the protection of his family. Is a hothead? Yes, he is. That's the part that worries me. But he talks about these things when it has to do with politics and how he's seen the scope change and where it can go. He then references those things to what he's read in the Bible and things like this. And I get it. I get it.
Mhm.
He has his own way of standing up for the rights of people of color, Black people. He's Hebrew Israelite, and usually it's like all Black folks. But in conversations with him, I've learned that in his own little neighborhood, there are Hispanics, and he teaches them the Bible. And he teaches them how to be ready and to, arm yourself against people who are trying to take your rights. So I do agree with him in a lot of ways, when it comes to being ready to protect yourself, when it comes to, the political nature of this country. I don't agree with the folks who are just not doing anything. They're just sitting on their hands, waiting for the shoe to drop. I don't agree with that. You've got to be able to do something, but that's my thing.
Yeah. One time the church used to be the place, but these pastors now are scared of losing their tax exempt status and stuff, so they really don't talk about politics in church like they used to. And then you have groups like Black Lives Matter that's kind of sputtered out, because what people don't understand, the Black Lives Matter group wasn't even designed to be a voice for Black America. It was designed to be a voice for Black women who were gay, and part of the gay movement. It just happened to end up being
evolved
a voice
into
for
something else.
Yeah, but then when you look at where have they gone with all that money? How have they spent that money? There are rumors out there that the leader bought some houses for her and her family, things of that nature. And I think those are the things that get people despondent in the Black community when they see an organization like that end up getting close to $40 or $50 million because of donations and things of that nature, and they don't put that
They don't do the
money
right
back
thing.
in the community. Like the people of Ferguson said, that money, when it was first gotten, should have came back into the Ferguson community. Okay, because that's where they came and voiced their opinions at it, and riled up the neighborhood. But none of that money came back into the thing. So we have to, first thing we have to do as a Black community and Black organizations, we've got to be able to show some accountability to the Black community to make the Black community believe in what we're doing.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree.
And that's not
Totally
happening.
agree.
Yeah.
Totally agree. Yeah.
When you-
Because what I found interesting. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well, no, what I was going to say is, and when you look at the more established organizations like the Urban League and the NAACP, you have a group of elitist Blacks running these organizations, okay? That make good talking points when the news calls upon them to make a comment. But what are they doing out in the trenches? The only person I see out here working in the trenches, and I feel so sorry for him, is Reverend Barber, because he has a bad degenerative back issue.
Yeah.
But he's out there.
Yeah. But there are some small organizations that are doing their part because during the month of February, which is our Black History Month, I think it's we celebrate Black history every day of our lives. But during Black History Month, last month, the company that I work for, they took on a task that I think surprised a lot of people. because the company I work for is, I mean, truly diverse. And the makeup of the company, I'm going to say, is probably 75% Black. And we're not talking about just bus drivers. We're talking about all the way up to high level management, you know. You find Blacks. And they surprised me because I never had an opportunity to see that a company was so focused on diversity, so focused on making sure that the right messages went out when it comes to Black history. They ended up hiring these 3 firms who basically concentrate on going into these large companies and even smaller companies. And they give you the information regarding our history, how it came about then, what was the makeup of the economics of it all, and how it's now transpired into where we are today. Things that a lot of us probably didn't think about, you know, when we talk about Blacks and the Black dollar. But they came in to be able to not educate and provide this information to those that are Black in management, but they made it so that it was available for everyone. The biggest surprise for me was that I did not see, because it came in on a Zoom call, and this was like 2 sessions every week on women in the work area, Black women, how they're treated, and things of that nature. I was surprised, not just by them offering these sessions. I was more surprised that more Black people were not on those Zoom calls taking advantage of it, because they asked us to turn our cameras on, you know, so that when they had comments, or if we had questions or things like that, they want to know who they're talking to. I was surprised that as much as we make up, I'm saying Black people in that company make up for that company, I didn't see the numbers that should have been a turnout. I saw more white Americans, Hispanic, Asian, East Indian. I saw those folks, more whites, but I didn't see Blacks. It was just a couple of us sprinkled in.
Yeah.
And that's the sad part, is because we don't want to learn anything.
We think we know everything. Again, that's our complacency in the Black community. We have other members of other races carrying out water for us when we should be the ones that are carrying our own water, and that's the problem. You know, you go like here in the DC area, you go to a lot of the marches. Yeah, we'll be represented as a Black community at these marches, but the white community comes out and gives us some great support. Okay,
yeah,
you know, and sometimes you be wondering. It's almost half and half, and you be saying, why? You know, where are our people in our community? You know, when are we going to stand up? You know, because okay, you was talking about your son, and I agree with what he does, and I believe it's needed that we have to be prepared, because, you know, hopefully and prayerfully, nothing will ever jump off that. A lot of it's going to be mouth lip service for years to come, the rhetoric and everything. But if you look in the Trump community and look at some of those whites, they are very armed and they are very vocal about maintaining their rights too. Okay, so it goes both ways, you know, but they are very serious about it. If you look at what they did in Michigan, the militia did in Michigan, they were talking about, you know, they wanted to kidnap the governor, have a trial and anger, you know. And so it's out there. I mean, I think we are on a powder keg here in this country at this time.
Oh, yeah.
You know, will it ever explode? Let's pray it doesn't. But if it does explode, there are going to be some issues and stuff. You know,
I think that but we've come really close to imploding. when we were basically on the cuff of all the police shootings, you know, killing of black folks in the streets, choking them out, you know, that kind of thing.
Well,
It was coming close. It was coming
but
very
Minneapolis did come unplugged. I mean, they had nights of violence in Minneapolis. I mean, people were really tired, you know. But you know, this is my thing. When you burn businesses, don't burn your own businesses. Don't burn the small business owners.
Yeah. But I do see, and I agree that we are sitting on a powder keg. I just think that, you know, we've seen it in the smaller scales from city to city when, you know, tragedy strikes, you know, when our men and our young women are gunned down in the street or struck down or hung in their jail cells and things of that nature. One city will erupt. But as time goes on, I think that powder keg is going to be a vast spread across the United States that will trigger this huge race war. I mean, I truly believe that because we as Black people, we have not only built this country with the prominent buildings such as the White House. You've got in the Capitol, and you've got Black inventors who have stepped forward and provided us a better way of life when it comes to inventions. People, in a lot of ways, are getting smarter when they do read about our history and what it means. It's going to come to a point where there is going to be this explosion, because there are a lot of people who, even though that we're the ones, and I said we, the 50 and ups, are out there, you know, marching for the cause or doing shows like this, being a part of our communities. Even though it is us, you do have those young Black people, such as my son, who are hell-bent on reading about their history and about their culture, about the environment that they're living in. They live it every day. Those are the ones that are going to explode. It's not going to be the ones that, they're not going to be the ones that are going to be running for offices and just getting involved in our government, in our politics. They're the ones that are going to be they're going to be the kerosene. And all it's going to take is one match. And I truly believe that. I truly, truly believe that.
Well, you know, I think one of the reasons that it'll always be a lot of rhetoric, because we are who we are, the United States of America, okay? And then when you look at the overall picture, this is probably, I'd much rather be here than be in a lot of other countries around the world when it comes to freedom, what the country has to offer, okay? You know, but I think if we can raise our voices and raise our status, that rhetoric would go down. Right now, we're not doing it, okay? You know, yes, we do have some Black militias out here, but this is the problem. We start stuff, we don't never finish nothing, okay? That's just the bottom line, okay? We get started, and everybody's saying, rah, 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 look at it, here we go, here we go. Okay, you look at the Black militia down in Georgia. You saw them for a little while during the George Floyd situation. Where have they gone now? Are they out recruiting? What are they doing? Okay?
I haven't heard anything.
I ain't heard nothing else from them. And that's how we do. We jump into situations and then we jump right back out. We need to have an anniversary. We need to have a day every year. One day every year. So like the 4th of July. I'm not even talking about the Emancipation Proclamation, nothing like that. That we have a day of reflection and look back every year and honor those individuals who have died at the hands of police officers, died in jail, and things of that nature. We need to keep this awareness going all the time, okay? We need to remember.
I think the awareness is there, though. The awareness is there
because
but hold on. The awareness is there because the media keeps us aware that it keeps happening.
But
So
it dies.
they're aware. It's just, what do you do when you're aware?
They don't do nothing. It goes away. When the last time we've talked about George Floyd? When the last time we talked about Ahmaud Arbery? When the last time we talked about the lady who died down in Texas in jail? It comes and goes. Whatever happened to the guy in Elizabeth City, North Carolina, Brown, with that case? Okay, even if the officers are found innocent, we still need to keep raising our voices. We go into the moment, and then when the moment reaches its peak, that's it. Game over with. And so we sit back and wait for the next situation to come up. And the next situation might not come up for 5 years. Just say that no officer does nothing wrong for 5 years. So we remain complacent for 5 years. Then we come out like the groundhog and see our shadow. Then we start raising sand. We can't do that. We need to be keeping our hand on that button, pushing that button every day.
I have to agree with you. I agree with
we
you.
don't do that. You look at what the white militias do. Well, just look at what Trump, what Orange Head is doing. Ain't even been nominated to run for president. He out there every weekend at some freaking rally, raising the hair of those imbeciles, getting all that money. They being stupid. They paying going to a rally, getting all that money. But we don't do stuff like that. That's what I'm talking about. Where our rallies are? Where are we saying that? What are we doing to keep the awareness going?
But see, the awareness also comes from not necessarily, and I say this all the time, we do these shows as a form of doing our part, right? But I think I get more and more irritated because we talk about issues that affect the Black communities worldwide or nationwide. Mm-hmm. These things that we talk about are happening every day. And I'm sure everybody that's listening live in different parts of the country, right? We do these shows so that we can help that awareness, build that awareness. But nobody shares the freaking show. I see the same people
every week.
Mm-hmm. Every week I see the same people. This is a form of doing our part. So your part as a viewer, as a participant, is to encourage people to come and listen to something that is going to be worth their while. They're going to get good information. They're not getting it off of mainstream media. They are getting it right from folks that are just like you. Just like you. I don't get it. I don't get it. We could be building a montage of information for people to take with them every week to guard themselves so that they're aware of what's going on. But we don't share the shows. And that's what I think. I'm not going to say I'm irritated with our viewers. I'm not going to say that.
Don't, please.
But you have to. But I'm going to be as real as I ever can. You know me. I'm going to say what's on my mind.
Right,
and it's not to be malicious. It's not to hurt people's feelings. Because you guys could leave from this show tonight and you could say, well, damn her. That bitch is crazy. You can say all of the stuff you want to say about me, but you can also say that I'm going to tell you the truth.
Mm-hmm.
Straight out. I'm going to tell you the truth. And the truth is that we think we've got to hold on to stuff because we know something more than somebody else. Mm. That's the problem. Share shows.
So we need all the viewers tonight. I want to challenge all the viewers tonight to bring 5 new people to the show next week. 5. Send this even after the show tonight. Hit the share button or copy the link and take the link and put it on your page and tell people to watch the show.
It's that
Okay.
simple.
And, you know, we need, and then hopefully when you're sharing the link, someone will pick up the show, look at it, and come back next week. But then too, invite 5 people to come look at the show next week. And I realize that in this day of technology, you can go to YouTube and everybody's got a show there. Everybody's talking about something. But I think we have a unique view of how we look at things, issues going on in the country, you know. And I think we bring a good perspective to the table when we talk about the issues of the day. And I think we pick issues. Now, I haven't seen anyone talk about what we're talking about tonight, the treatment of a judge in Black America.
No.
I think what you do, you find most shows deal with the topic of the day, which is the news. They just take a news topic and they discuss it and go a little broader. We try to be a little bit intellectual on here and try to broaden the topic, you know, to talk about many different issues within the topic, you know. So I think we do have the ability, and we do stand out from the other shows that come on YouTube that you see, and it's a plethora of shows out there for you to choose from. But I think this is a good show where you get some good information. And I ain't the smartest cookie in the world, but you know, I got a little voice here, okay?
But I think also what sets us apart is that you can find a show on every internet platform.
Yeah.
And I know we're running low on time, but what you won't find is the sustainability of shows. This entire network has been around for, it'll be 12 years in October. That's a long time. That's a long time to hold and captivate people to keep coming back.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't come back just because, you know, on one show I'm acting a fool. But out of all of that foolery that goes on Hot Topics, you do get something out of it. And like you said, we touch on topics, but we can give you things within inside that topic on top of each other, so that it provides you with a different way of looking at things. And like I said, we're not here to try and change anybody's minds. I'm not trying to feed you a line of BS. I'm just telling you the truth. Reggie's here to tell you the truth. Chair's here to tell you the truth. But if you are enjoying these shows, I'm going to take it down deeper with you, because Reggie, you had mentioned that the Black church just does not get into the political issues anymore because of their 501c, right?
Right.
Think of us as a ministry, okay? This is going to be the church of Real World News TV. I want you to bring your community members to the church of Real World News TV every Tuesday, because you're going to learn something. We're going to touch on issues that a lot of people won't. You're going to hear me cuss if I'm on. Jared's learning how to cuss, but we're going to give you the real. And that's all we want, is we just want to provide people with the real things that are going on. And then that way we can form some sort of alliance that we are together, you know, to build unity. Because that's what we're talking about tonight, is a break of unity. There's not that unity that we used to have.
Yeah. I have just a little testimony since we're here at church.
Man. Hi, man.
It was one of my Facebook friends was a lady from my community in North Carolina where I grew up at. And she happened to get on the show one night and listen to the show. And she called my mother the next day and she said that this was the first show she's seen where we talked like we had some sense. Okay. Unfortunately, she passed away last year after a short illness. She was in her 80s, and her and my mother were good friends. But she said she was really proud of me because this show was making sense, and we were talking about stuff that made sense. So there are people out there that look at us, and you know, this lady was a school teacher during her day. She worked very hard in the community. And that's what she said. And that made me feel good. I haven't forgotten what she said, because we do bring something to the table, you know, but we need more people to hear it, and we need more people to spread it.
Yeah. because we can talk community all day long,
Yeah.
but we can't do it with a community of 4
That's
or
right.
5. I want to be able to keep this network going. If we don't see that there's an interaction from the audience, the chances of the show surviving is slim, because we bring these shows to you. We come out of our everyday lives. We have jobs. We have families. Yeah, you can always tell when I'm tired. Like now, because I can't stream a sentence together. So, but we come out of our everyday lives, and we sacrifice, being with our families, just so that we can build a community with our audience and to deliver truth to them. We deliver entertainment to you in a lot of ways, So I encourage everybody, like Reggie said, invite your people, share this, because if you enjoy it, chances are they're going to enjoy it too. But overall, we just want to be able to give them information, truth, and something to take away and think about.
Yeah. And that's what we got to do.
Yep.
That's what we got to do.
I've rambled a lot.
That's a good ramble.
It's 6:30.
Yeah. It's 9:30 here. So you got a little time before you go to bed.
I've got a lot of time before I go to bed.
Oh yeah, you got another show at 10 o'clock.
Yeah. Right after this show at 7 o'clock, Truth Brothers is coming to you on Facebook. I'll be sitting in for a little while on that show, producing that show tonight. It's a special edition, the slap heard around the world. Some of the things that are going to be discussed with Devon, Patrick, and Ray, it might, leave you feeling some sort of way. Yet there are a lot of things that they might say that you will agree with. But again, that's another show, great show, great guys. Support them by sharing the shows. Okay. But right after Real World, I've got about 30 minutes. We'll be coming back at 7 o'clock with Truth Brothers TV. So Reggie,
for you all that don't know, when she's saying 7 o'clock, she's talking about Pacific time, 10 o'clock, okay, on the East Coast.
Yeah.
Okay.
7 o'clock p.m. Pacific, 9 Central, 10 o'clock on the East Coast. Truth Brothers right after Real World. But Reggie, I always enjoy sitting in with you because we have great conversations. I always enjoy it. So thank you.
Yeah. I'm gonna leave my can and matches in the garage for a little while.
Yeah, just put them up for a minute.
Yeah.
I mean, you can always go back and get them. So just hold on to it.
Oh boy, yes I can. Yes I can.
Oh my gosh.
So what y'all got for tomorrow night? You and Yvonne coming up tomorrow night, or you coming up Saturday?
No, actually we changed our day and time. Because I've got, 4 shows to try and contend with. It was too much, every night of the week. And then we added Cutting It Close with CC. Thanks, Jacqueline. So we were talking about 5 shows. So I had to try and do something to try and break up the week. So Hot Topics will not air any longer on Wednesday nights. We air on Saturday afternoons, or some people say evening, at 5 o'clock Pacific, 7 Central, 8 on the East Coast. So Hot Topics will not air on Wednesday nights any longer. I think we're into 2 shows already on Saturdays. And then CC is on the last Saturday of each month. So that's it.
Okay. It's been real. Enjoyed it, people. Take the challenge next week. Take the challenge tonight. Share the program. Copy the link. Take the challenge for next week and bring 5 people with you, okay?
You know what? I'm going to make a deal with them, Reggie. So the person that invites the most people for Real World News next week, they will get a Real World News piece of merchandise from our store. And we'll send it out to you, and that will be your gift. So every time you bring someone new to the room each Tuesday night, the most people that show up and say that they were invited by you, if you have the most, you will get a piece of Real World News TV merchandise. How's that? Deal?
Sound like a plan to me.
Those t-shirts and those sweatshirts are not cheap. So.
And they're nice too. They're real nice.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
All right. So, huh?
I forgot to go back and buy me the red one.
I know I like the red.
Yeah, the red one is really nice. I think I'm gonna buy me one just to have for next winter.
All right. See, Yolanda said it sounds good to her. Sounds good. So
yeah, Yolanda gonna bring 10 people. She gonna bring 10 people next week.
Yolanda's gonna bring 10. And if you bring me 10, and I see them on here, because see, next week I'll be sitting as a producer so I can take time to count. You bring me 10, I'll get you that red sweatshirt. And that's expensive. So, all right. So with that being said, thanks everybody for tuning in to Real World News TV with Reggie Kearney. Miss Cherry Ann Tappan is out for the evening, and I've been filling in for her. And I have to say thank you again to Reggie for allowing me to do so. Please send up your prayers for Chera and her family. They are going through a devastating time at this point. So I want you to keep her in your prayers. Make sure that you come on back here to Real World News TV every Tuesday night. The show always starts at 5:30 p.m. Pacific, 7:30 Central, 8:30 on the East Coast, right here on Facebook. So come on back at 7 o'clock for True Brothers TV with Ray Gage and Devon Patrick, 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 Central. All right. With that said, we're done. We are done. Now I got to take down this banner because I've been talking.
Hey, good night, everyone.
Great show. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you soon. I'm trying to get out.